Welcome back from Stuck to Strong. Big Dave here. And this one's an interesting one. It's all about empathy versus accountability. Meaning, as you are a leader and you're leading people, what's more important, the empathy or the accountability? And this particular one is one that so many people struggle with at every level. And it's like, I want to be a friend. I want to be someone they can count on and be their friend. And the empathy takes over. And as the emotions are now more open and more people are actually willing to share them versus before where you just keep them all to yourselves, the empathy part becomes to play a major factor. What about accountability? That's where things get interesting. That's where you see so many companies failing. That's where you see so many leaders failing, which results in those companies failing. Let's go through this. One of the questions you first have to ask yourself is, how's your company doing? And if you're saying not so well, you probably have a leadership issue. And if you think you have great leaders, you probably have an accountability issue. Culture. Oh, right. What a topic. Important topic. Vital. But if your culture isn't one of accountability, how do you ever make it anywhere? It's kind of like going, oh, you failed. It's okay. Don't worry about them. You'll get them next time. No, that's not how business works. That's not how it goes. Not at all. None of us can work that way. Empathy is a huge part of what we have to do as managers and leaders, but accountability trumps all. And you could do it in a way that's not being a jackass. It's a tricky little piece here because too much empathy, it really feels good to your team, but then you don't really get better. Too little empathy and your culture crumbles. Much stuck between a rock and a hard place there. Nah, not really. You're really not. I think all of you know by now that I'm not a sugarcoater. I really don't sugarcoat anything. I'm pretty direct and to the point, and that's how I'm going to stay. So I'm not going to sugarcoat this. If you don't have a standard, then where does empathy play? Let me say that again. If you don't have standards, why does empathy matter? If you don't have concise, clear direction, empathy is just a weakness. Did I just say that? I did. A fundamental truth of all people is they crave direction. Everyone does. Everyone wants direction, and it's, let's go get it. We'll go get it done. All right, I'm on it. They crave clear, concise direction. That's your standards. You get it? And I'm going to say it this way. Your business dies when no one's held the standards. Standards being defined as the right expectation of what's supposed to happen in any given month, or any given year, or any given quarter, however you break it down. Standards. Once you have standards defined, then a leadership can lead. And then once that leader has those standards understood by all the people that work for them, now you can start to lead. But remember, there's a balance. There's a really fine balance between empathy and accountability. And remember this, accountability to the standard wins. If you're a high-performing leader, you understand this balance. You don't really have to go and yell at a person. You can be empathetic to what just happened. Yes, this is a terrible, terrible thing, and it's not easy to go through. However, our goal was to be up 15%, and we're up 12, and we got to figure out how to get there. So what are the things we're going to do? Remember, that's different. I'm not belittling the person. I'm agreeing with them. I'm saying, yes, it doesn't feel good not to be hitting your goal, but still holding us accountable, us as a team accountable to hitting our goal. Not saying things like, you're awful, you suck, how come you can't hit it? Big difference there. Another thing I've seen, and I see it quite often, is when empathy comes into play, you start to think so much about what that other person is going through. And although I think is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful trait, it can kill a company. And let me explain why. And let me explain why that is so unfair to all the other employees that work there. And this is the reason why. If that person's going through something, but yet you can't hit your goals, all the people that are working for that company could be in disaster of being looked at on whether or not they're going to have a job. So in order to look out for everybody, you want to hold your team accountable to what your goals, your standards are. So when you are giving too many people, oh, I can't believe what they're going through, and then let them off the hook, exceptions, right? Exceptions happen. I get it. But if that's more of what's happening all the time, your culture crumbles. And even though everyone sees what's going on and feels really bad, the culture's like, well, they ain't going to do nothing anyway. So why the hell do I got to do it? And they're going to say this behind closed doors. And then what happens? Then everything crumbles, and then your profit crumbles, and then you got to start laying people off. Accountability must always win. I'm going to say it this way, and there's three main things I want you to take from this. And it's really important that you take all three. You empathize with people. That person, you empathize with them. You hold everyone accountable to the standard. You get it? Let me say it differently. You can be with someone and saying, I can't believe what you're going through and what a rough year it is. And my heart really is, I want to support you in every way I can. But we still have to figure out how to hit this goal. And what are the things that we can do to still hit it? Any ideas are on the table. Let's cover it. That's an example. You have compassion. You have accountability. Don't confuse the two. I have to tell you, one of the pet peeves that I have is, oh, you tried your best. That statement just drives me nuts. I'm a Yoda guy. You do or do not, there is no try. You can't try and succeed. You either did or you didn't. Now, that doesn't mean and have to be the harsh reality everyone wants to take it as, but it's true. Stop rewarding the struggle. Do you hear me? Stop rewarding the struggle. Instead, reward the solution, man. Reward the solutions. That's what people need to be rewarded for. When empathy wins, they're going to take everything as me, and what I'm going through rather than, hey, this guy understands what I'm going through. This girl understands what I'm going through, but I still need to figure out how to hit this goal. Most importantly, you celebrate the results, not the effort. You appreciate it. You celebrate the results, not just the resilience. The results are what needs to be celebrated every single time. The results. Hear it again. The results. None of this, you gave it your best effort. That doesn't get anyone anywhere. That doesn't help any of the employees that work there. That doesn't help anybody. That doesn't mean you can't go and say things like we talked earlier about, I'm sorry you're struggling with this and I want to figure out how to support you. What are some things we can do that can support you in this so we still hit this goal? You see the difference? I'm not saying belittle people. Don't ever do that because we're all in this together. Trust me, everybody that's in a job is the same type of people. We eat, we sleep, we worry, we express joy. I don't care if you're the CEO. I don't care if you're someone doing janitorial work. I don't care what you're doing in between. When you stop looking at people as people, you got problems. And that's for any direction up and down. And you wouldn't think the third one would have to be mentioned, but it does because it's missed all the time. Lead with clarity. Let me say that again. Lead with clarity. Lead and be concise and clear. Once you do that, you can coach with compassion, man. Coach with that empathy. Once you have it out there and free to all and it be understood and clear, now we can help them. Once you create clarity in what winning looks like, now you can start to coach and lead. Because if you don't have that set up, I don't know what it's called, but maybe you're just being a nice little person cheering them on. Good job. But until you set conciseness and clearness and they absolutely understand what's going on, you can't lead or coach because where are you heading? If that direction isn't crystal clear, where are you heading? What are you coaching them to? It's at that point where you can be flexible. You can offer them tools. You can offer them other types of support, whatever may be needed, but only once that standard, that goal is understood. I firmly believe people don't burn out because of pressure. I don't believe that at all. I believe people burn out because of confusion, because of goals that go back and forth and wobble. People burn out because of lack of direction. People burn out because their boss won't make a decision. Not pressure, not accountability. It's those other things that make people burn out because now they're wasting time on things that really don't matter. I want to leave you with this. Be the leader that changes the organization. Be the leader they need, not the one they like. The liking's a byproduct. When you're the leader they need, the like and respect just comes. And I like to say it this way. Your job isn't to make everyone comfortable. No, you're moving an organization as a leader. But your job is to give comfort once a standard, a goal is clearly defined and you're all working towards it. All conversations should lead back to the goal, not something else. At any time, when you're talking about work, it should be right back to the goal. How is this helping us achieve our goal? What are the things that allow us to get to this goal? We've worked on this, but our goal hasn't improved. Why? Things like that. It is your job to help them grow, to help them win and grow to their potential. And you do that by first and foremost accountability. But you also do that by showing empathy and giving them the support and the tools they need to succeed. I'm going to leave you here. I'm going to leave you with this. You can lead with empathy and still expect excellence. They don't fight each other. You can lead with empathy and still expect excellence. And in fact, the best leaders always do. Till next time, it's Big Dave here. And hopefully you're learning, having fun, and achieving your goals.